On this week's Whiteboard Leadership Moment, we're going to continue the conversation about steps to sticky vision. We're going to start with number 4. It's to resource it adequately. When you have a great vision and you want people to be involved in it, you want people to buy into it, you have to give resources to it. The resources come in the form of people and finances and space, but even more than those things, it's actual authority. Ownership comes from authority, not from responsibility. When all you have is responsibility but no authority, you don't feel ownership. But when people want something to move forward and they feel like I'm responsible for it, but I have power to make decisions about it, then the ownership just skyrockets in the life of the organization. Next, number 5 is to train it effectively. With every organization, you've got motivation, but then you've also got training. People aim at the heart with motivation, but they aim at the hands when it comes to training. So how are we going to train people? How are we going to train new people to get involved? And how are we going to train leaders to get better? And so what are we going to do to raise up leaders and create a leadership pipeline? What are we going to do with the new people who jump on board who say, now what? What do you want me to do? What's my responsibility? What's my opportunity? 6th is to celebrate it enthusiastically. I have seen churches do a great job with this, and I have seen churches do a very poor job with this. We have to remember that what gets celebrated gets repeated. And I'm just going to encourage you again, when you celebrate, don't just celebrate the number, don't just celebrate the result, celebrate the action that leads to the result. When people are, when we have an Easter service and 1,000 people show up and you're a church of 100, that's a great thing, but you don't want to just celebrate the number. You want to celebrate the actions of inviting and praying and investing and serving that led to the result of this, and God's power as well. You want to make sure that you celebrate those things. The question you might ask is, how do people know this is a priority and we are excited about it? A celebration comes in the form of numbers. When you measure things, it means they matter. When you evaluate things, it means they're essential to the organization. You've got to make sure that you're measuring things, you're talking about it. It's in your program, it's in your announcements, in the stories in your sermon. And things we talk about are the things that are important to us. And so we have to learn how to celebrate. We have another whiteboard video on celebration as well, and it's in the how to create culture conversation. The last question to ask, or the last thing to do, is to reiterate it consistently. One of the things I find is that leaders think that we've said it very compellingly. We've said it one time and everyone got it because we were so compelling, we were so amazing. And maybe you are that way, but I'm certainly not that way. So what I try to do is create a cadence of conversation, a cadence of accountability, a cadence of reminder, and bring it up over and over and over to remind people this is a really important thing. It could be evangelism, it could be prayer, it could be discipleship, it could be missions, it could be any one of those things. But if we don't bring it up over and over, if there isn't a cadence in the culture, in our weekend services, in our discipleship groups, in our conversations around the dinner table, then it will never become a priority for the church or for the family you're trying to reach. The question is here, how do we keep it on our people's radar? We have to think about these things. Listen, these 7 steps, these 7 questions for sticky vision, I know that if you and your organization would just focus on these things, you would see it in the life of Scripture and life of Jesus, you'd see it in the life of Paul, you'd see it in the early church, and hopefully would see it in your community, your congregation, and God would use you to reach many people with the gospel as a result of learning these skills. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.